Still,
Like Matt Hampton's got surveys on.
I always love his picture where he's looking through his binoculars. I'm watching this. He is crazy as shit.
It's great. We're getting ready to start. We'll call this regular city council meeting to order on April 1st, 2024 at 6:02 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Eimer?
Present.
Mr. Bailey?
Present.
Mr. Sanders?
Present.
Mrs. McCullen? Present. Mr. Parrott?
Present.
Mr. Downs?
Present.
Mrs. Ross?
Present.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Present.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak under public participation this evening? Okay, for the record, there is no public participation tonight. First up is the swearing in, or the oath of office for Chris Phillips to the position of corporal. Chris, if you just stand on the end with John, he'll do it right down there.
Please raise your right hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Your name,
Chris Phillips.
and repeat after me. Having been appointed
I've been appointed
to the office of corporal
to the office of corporal
in the city of Lincoln
in the city of Lincoln
and the county of Logan,
in the county of Logan.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
I'll support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of Illinois.
of the state of Illinois.
I'll faithfully discharge the duties
I'll faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of corporal
of the office of corporal
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, sir.
I thought he was gonna bring the dog.
John?
Oh, sorry.
Have you signed it?
Yeah, just sign this, sir.
Congratulations. Okay, next item up is item number 5. This is a consent agenda. This evening it consists of 5A, payment of bills, and 5B, approval of February 13th, 2024, committee of the whole meeting, February 27th, 2024, committee of the whole meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Alderwoman O'Donoghue made the motion, Alderwoman Ross second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullen?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes. Okay, next item is 9A, approval of amendment to work order number 3 from Crawford Murphy and Tilley Engineering Services for resurfacing projects in an amount not to exceed $90,000.
So moved.
Second.
Alderwoman McClellan made the motion, Alderman Bateman second. Discussion? Ms. Ross?
Yes, I was looking at one of the documents and it said something about it going to $167,000. What was that?
Yeah, there's 3 separate work orders here. So are you sure?
Okay, but I thought this was all amending, the other 2 amended this.
Was it, and we've slept a few days, was it item C that was the previous amount that got raised? I don't recall. Andrew, Walt, do you?
This is, the original amount for this for the, work order number 3 was $77,000.
Right.
And the amendment is $90,000, making it a total of $167,000.
Okay, but on this document that's March 20th, it says amended contract amount.
Yeah, so here's the document. So the original amount that was approved was $77,000.
Right.
And this would be an additional $90,000 approval for a total of $167,000.
Okay, so that 90 is added to that, rather
Yes,
than
right.
being a second and then a third. Okay, just wanted that clarified, thank you.
Alderman Eimer?
Why did it go up that much? Well,
Part of this work was done last year, and this is for additional work that's being done for this year for our resurfacing that'll be done out of the general fund.
Oh, just cost increases up?
No, it's additional work.
Additional.
Oh,
targets.
additional work, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or discussion? Ms. Ross?
No.
Good, okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Imer?
Yes.
Okay, next item up is 9B, approval of work order number 7 from Crawford Murphy and Tilly for engineering services in an amount not to exceed $110,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Rolfs made the motion, Alderman Downs second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Wait a minute. Should that have been 110,100?
The document says 110,100. So we'll have to do an amendment.
Is that correct? Walt?
Let's,
Where does it say the price at? I'm not following.
okay,
So who, I don't know who did the motion.
nobody yet. Okay, do we have, motion for 9B? What was that,
Can we change the amount
Is the
under
amount
discussion?
changed?
No, hold on, there was Alderman Ross and Alderman Downs.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll have to have an amendment to amend the amount to $110,100. Is there an amended motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Alderman Bates made the motion, Alderman Parrott second. Discussion?
Is that just a misprint then on this? or-
It's a misprint on the agenda. The actual contract has the additional $100. But we can't, we have to vote what's on the agenda, so, okay. All right, any other discussion on that? Okay, so roll call on the amendment for the amount of $110,100.
No, $110,100. Okay.
Yep, roll call please.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Imer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion on 9B as amended? Roll call please.
Which
On 9B as amended, the original motion as
Who
amended.
seconded that time? Was it Wanda or was it?
It was Alderman Parrott, Alderman Bateman, and then Alderman Parrott.
No.
You mean on the original?
Original.
Oh, the original was Alderwoman Ross and Alderman Downs.
Second. Okay.
Alderman Downs second.
Okay. Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Imer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, next item is item 9C, approval of work order number 8 from Crawford Murphy and Tilly for engineering services in an amount not to exceed $183,100. Double check.
So moved.
I just checked it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alderwoman McClellan made the motion, Alderman Downs second. Discussion? Roll call please.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Imer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Okay, next item is 9D, approval of proposal for audit services from Estes, Bridgewater, and Ogden for the city of Lincoln for fiscal year 2023-2024 in the amount of $26,500 and fiscal year 2024-2025 in the amount of $27,200.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman O'Donahue made the motion, Alderwoman Ross second. Discussion? Roll call please.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Imer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Okay, next item is 9E, approval of economic development grant to HBC Hild Brothers Construction and Remodeling LLC for structural repairs, tuck pointing, window and door in an amount not to exceed $7,500.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderman Downs made the motion, Alderwoman O'Donoghue second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullough?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Okay, next up is 9F, approval of mayoral proclamation declaring Heartland Bank and Trust Sangamon Branch officially open on April 9th, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderwoman Ross made the motion, Alderman Bateman second. Discussion? Okay, before we vote, I'm gonna read the proclamation for the record so that everybody knows, and this will be presented at their grand opening. They've asked me to read it. It says Proclamation 2024-489, whereas the government of Lincoln, Illinois celebrates our local small business and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas, according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 32.5 million small businesses in the United States. Small businesses represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees. Small businesses are responsible for 62% of net new jobs created since 1995. And small businesses employ 46.8% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. And whereas 79% of consumers understand the importance of supporting the small business in their community, 70% report they encourage others to shop and bank local, independently owned retailers, and 66% report that this makes them want to shop and bank local all year long. And whereas Lincoln, Illinois supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserves our communities. And whereas individuals, businesses, groups, including public and private organizations, have endorsed keeping banking local in the community to support businesses. Now, therefore, I, Tracy Welch, Mayor of the City of Lincoln, Illinois, do hereby proclaim Heartland Bank and Trust Company's Sangamon branch open in Lincoln, Illinois, dated this 9th day of April, 2024. Okay. Now that we've read that, any other discussion before we vote? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCullough?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Okay, next item is 9G, approval of mayoral proclamation declaring March 2nd, 2024, and each and every year henceforth as Lady Railer Basketball Day in the City of Lincoln.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderman Eimer made the motion, Alderwoman O'Donoghue second. Any discussion? Okay, I'll read this proclamation as well. Proclamation 2024-490, Lady Railer Basketball Day, March 2nd. Whereas Lincoln Community High School is known for its commitment to produce strong academic scholars and athletes, and recently the girls varsity basketball team had an undefeated season with a record of 38-0 and won the Illinois High School Association 3A State Championship. And whereas the City Council of the City of Lincoln believes that the girls varsity basketball team persevered in the face of adversity, endeavoring to overcome them, and as a result achieve something that they can be proud of. And whereas the City Council further believes that the girls varsity basketball team conducted themselves throughout the season in a manner that the citizenry of Lincoln can be proud of and are an exemplary example of what the youth in our community are capable of on and off the court. And whereas the momentous victory that occurred on March 2nd, 2024 symbolizes the first team athletic state championship for Lincoln Community High School, and the City of Lincoln came together as a whole to support the girls varsity basketball team on and off the court throughout their season. And whereas the 2024 Lincoln High School Lady Railer basketball team are very much deserving of recognition for their success due to their endeavors and victories. And now therefore I, Tracy L. Welch, Mayor of the City of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim March 2nd each and every year as Lady Railer Basketball Day in the City of Lincoln, Illinois. Any further discussion on that? Before we vote, The high school board, I talked to Mr. Strickland, has asked that this be read at a school board meeting. It's probably gonna be in May, so when I get that date, I'll let everybody know so that you can attend as well. And then I have reached out to Mr. Helm and asked him what a good date would be to have the girls come, and then we can read this to them and give them the actual proclamation. So working out the dates on that, but some of those girls went into spring sports, and so they've all got different busy schedules, yeah. So, with that being said, roll call please.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Next item is 9H, approval of intergovernmental agreement between Logan County and the City of Lincoln for the 5th Street Road project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Alderman Eimer made the motion, Alderman Sanders second. Discussion, Ms. Ross?
I did have a couple of questions because we know that this has been a long-awaited project. When I went through the documents, I just wanted to clarify, in the language, under 4, number 1, I think the two figures were, but they were in orange and I couldn't read them, and I wondered if that was between $5,265,000 and $6,200,000.
What page?
Page 3.
Oh,
Yes, that's the difference in the project, estimated cost of construction.
Okay, so it could be from 5 million plus.
No, the previous one was 5 million.
So we're now at 6,200,000?
Yes.
Okay. And then under 4.3, it mentioned 5 years. So once this contract is signed now, we've got 5 years?
It's just this agreement, the length of this agreement is for 5 years.
So just the agreement, it doesn't mean we have to have the 5 years?
If we get to, hopefully, God forbid, we get to 5 years and we don't have it done yet, and the goal is much sooner than that, and I think we're on track.
Yep.
I think that it's just that this agreement, it takes us through 5 years if we need it.
Okay.
And at that point, if something were to happen, then we'd probably be looking at a renewal again.
But we're gonna work toward that goal, correct? Toward getting it done?
A goal of much sooner.
Oh. And then under 2.1, it had mentioned that the county was going to be giving us $1,250,000.
We will be receiving $488,000.
Not the 1 million that was, okay, and that's on this.
That was their total allotment of that money.
Mhm.
For the segments that are actually counting within the scope of our project, the dollar amount is $488,000.
Okay, so as we look at our budget for the next 5 years, if we're going to be serious about this, we will have money that we look at that can go into paying for this or not?
I'll leave that to.
So there are grant monies that have been allocated, as we know, and they've actually been sitting there for decades. And we've renewed agreements with IDOT and other entities to maintain those funds. But the council's gonna have to have a discussion about how to fund the 5th Street Road project. Unless the treasurer has a different thought on it, we're probably looking at bonds to pay for that. But once we get to that point, he's gonna have to have conversations with the bond issuers about the cost, the terms, the interest, and that amortization schedule for that. Treasurer, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think, thank you, Mayor. I think you've summarized it very well, and that's what bonds are the most likely source of revenue for that. And of course, that cost of that's gonna depend on what the bond interest rates are. One way to do this is if we can kind of project this project in stages, because I don't imagine it's going to be all done at once. Those bonds can be issued at different times rather than as we've done in the past where things which were completed within a short period of time. We did one relatively short period of time. We'd issue bonds all at once to cover the cost of it. But if this is going to take longer, then we would probably do those incrementally.
It'll be phased.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
It's a big project.
That would be probably the best approach.
Mr. Landers?
And the federal monies and the state monies that we have available, we're probably roughly 50% there,
Roughly.
pretty close
Yeah.
of that $6.2 million.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering if we're really serious about this. You know, we're looking, signing an agreement that we're going to try to get the project done.
The agreement doesn't commit us to the project. The agreement,
No, but-
basically, it gives the county assurances that they can retain those funds, because they've been sitting with those funds in their budget for a number of years.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time we've renewed it.
Right. No, there's been 4 times, I believe. I just
Yeah.
was trying to figure out if we're really gonna
Yeah,
try
I
to
mean,
focus on this.
everything's up in the air because we believe we're at a good point where we're sending all the paperwork to IDOT. There's some crossing of T's and dotting of I's at this point. We're hoping for mid-2025 or early 2025, but of course, anything can change. So we won't lock anything down, but to give you an idea of what the discussions have been. So, knock on wood, maybe 2025 is our year. So, we will bring that.
Tremont Street and Fifth Street Road.
Yeah, once we know what that cost is gonna be, we'll bring it to the council so that you guys can start having some hard conversations about how you'd like to fund this project. So,
How much support do we need from the county? Do we, we're signing an agreement with them, but what does that really commit us to?
it ensures that the money that they've set aside for the project, the $400,000+ that they're giving to us, will be retained. Without the agreement, technically, they could just spend the money as they choose. And they want to see this project done,
Yes, they do.
Yeah. so. Yep. Okay, any other questions?
No.
You're welcome. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mrs. McClellan?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Downs?
Yes.
Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Donoghue?
Yes.
Mr. Eimer?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us down to announcements. I've got a few to make. Since we're talking about topics, I was contacted today by Adam Mackey. I think Mr. Bateman was as well. And Adam is with the Speedway, the racetrack in town. And it's gonna be a cooler evening on Friday, the weather is. He asked if the council or the city had any concerns if they were to take advantage of Sunday instead of Friday. And if so, they would start earlier at 5 o'clock, which hopefully means they would get done sooner on Sunday. So I told him I would bring it to the council and ask you. Obviously, we can't vote on it, but are there any objections to that? And also, if the weather is constantly changing, and he did write me later in the afternoon. I don't know if he wrote you, and he did say, well, we'd like to keep both days open because Sunday, maybe, I believe there might be rain projected for Sunday.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Parrott and Mr. Bateman.
It only looks like there's a 5-degree difference in temperature, and I don't know what the temperature, highs are. Obviously, it's gonna be different, but there looks like a 40% chance of rain on Sunday.
On
Do
Sunday.
they know when they would make that final decision?
No. He did not give me an indication of when they'd make that decision.
I don't have an issue.
Mr. Bateman.
And part of this is because when race season starts, almost every night is filled up. Since this is the first night, there's no other races on Sunday, as in the cars that would race here Friday go somewhere else on Sunday. So both days are open, and it's moisture and temperature. So when you get the dirt wet and the temperature difference, that's the reason. He's just asking if the council would be okay with it being fluid, that he could pick either date, but he did assure us that the Sunday date would start 2 hours earlier, so they would finish 2 hours earlier.
Everybody okay with that?
It's the first race of the season.
Okay. I'll reach back out to Mr. Mackey after council and let him know. Okay. Next is some ribbon cuts. So there will be a ribbon cutting at Wild Petals at 517 Woodlawn this Friday at 5 p.m. So if you can attend, please do so. And then also for the proclamation of the Heartland Bank on Sangamon Street, that grand reopening will be on Tuesday at 10 a.m. So next Tuesday at 10 a.m. I would've put it on the next agenda, but we don't meet until the evening. So those are the ones slated to happen between now and next meeting. And again, that's Tuesday at 10 a.m. The next item I have is the Parade of Champions is this Friday, and it is at 2:30 p.m. Ashley's supposed to have that list locked down by tomorrow. We had some moving around of things to do, and so I'll send everybody that list so everybody kind of knows where the teams are placed. I think there was 22 or 23 entries, and Tim McDougal is going to be the Grand Marshal. And he has been notified. He's very excited. As you can imagine, he stopped me out in public and he was very excited.
Did he hug you?
So, he did not hug me. We were sitting across the table and he might have. I've never seen him smile that big.
Nobody more deserving though.
And
He is.
then Jim Examus, I spoke with Matt Examus and they're gonna provide the vehicle for him. So we've already got that lined up. Other than that, only other announcement I got is more or less a thank you. We had coffee with the mayor, Ms. Rolfs, and Mr. Bateman showed up, and Mr. Bounds drove all the way from Litchfield to be a part of that with us. We had the biggest turnout that I think we've ever had, coffee with the mayor, and a lot of good questions and discussion. If you'd like a recap, I know Nyla was there and Will or. Yeah, she's working on it. It went 2 hours.
Wow.
So scheduled for an hour, went 2 hours. And then afterwards, we went down and saw Miss McClellan's new family business, which opens up tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So J&M Meats, it's J&M Meat Market, correct?
Yeah,
And what's your address?
we are 101 South Kickapoo.
101 South Kickapoo.
Yes.
So they open up tomorrow. Stop in and see them.
Thank you.
Your family did a wonderful job on that remodel, so.
Yes, and I'd like to acknowledge David White, who is the general contractor who spent many, many evenings there putting that all together,
Yeah,
so.
it looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Anybody else? Alderman Parrott and then Alderman Bateman.
Just an update on the mural. It's moving along. We're hopeful that it'll be completed in late April, early May, at least with the paint. And then I'll need to probably speak with Walt and Wes in regards to what we need to do and perhaps getting the building prepped for it and ready for it, and coordinating with Scott.
Okay, when you get to that point, can you coordinate with Nyla too? I mean, I'm assuming at some point we'll want to do like a ribbon cut to open, or to display it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Mr. Bateman.
So a name that's not been announced here lately, I'd like to congratulate Becca Heitzig for winning the 800 meter and 1600 meter indoor track event. The girl's got a lot of skills and can run.
Ms. Bateman and then Mr. Landers.
We're supposed to have the final, or the inspection for the elevator on Thursday morning. So when the agenda goes out Friday, that will be your cue if we're here or if we're back to City Hall. Because they didn't act like there would be any issue, but who knows, so we'll see.
Okay. Mr. Landers.
Starting this Wednesday, the landfill landscape waste facility will be open Wednesday through Sunday, at least through the month of April. When we get ready to close it back down to Wednesday, Saturday again, we'll put a press release out. They'll be going to extended hours here this week.
Okay. Mr. Barrett.
One other thing, they did complete the brush grinding last week, late last week, so the pile of brush has all been taken care of. And they're currently hauling out mulch, and hopefully they want to at least haul out what the new grinding material that they just did. They're hoping to at least get it all removed.
Is any of that available to the public?
Yeah, as much as they want.
Okay.
We do have mulch at the street department facility.
On Lemon Street?
So
Okay.
if somebody has a small pickup or wants to come in and get a trash can or some buckets full, we have it there. With anybody that would like more than that, then they would have to let us know so we can assist in loading it out at the landscape waste facility.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm done.
Mr. Barrett.
I thought I saw electronic recycling which got me to think about, do we have a spring cleanup drop-off out at the streets and alley anytime, planned anytime?
It's tentatively planned for May 18th.
May 18th, and we'll give out more detail of what could be brought in and all that when we get closer
When we
to
get
that.
closer, we'll do a press release and put information out.
Thank you.
And then the electronic dates are,
Starts April 22nd, Monday through Friday, and then Wednesday is till 8 o'clock. They're 8 to 2 every day, and then Wednesday will be till 8 o'clock.
and I'm assuming you'll welcome volunteers like in the past?
They're all
Yeah.
We'll be sending out a schedule for that, for
Okay.
people to sign up for it.
So be thinking about it, if you wanna volunteer as part of the recycling, they'll send it out. It's a good experience. And it's amazing to see how many TVs they take in, among other things.
How about we start taking wagers of how many of them giant whales are still out there in this county?
Come on out, you get to pick a few up.
Each
I'm
year
sure.
it gets smaller, but somebody always shows up with one of them big gigantic ones.
Cleaning out an old farmhouse or a garage or a basement, you know. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
Alderman Donahue made the motion, Alderman Downs second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Meeting is adjourned at 6:33 PM.